Welcome back, welcome back. I'm Cheryl. Welcome to my channel, Sheryl Schmidt Artistry. If you're new here, welcome. Take a minute, look around my channel and see what other videos I have up, and hopefully something will catch your interest and you'll stay a while. If you're returning, thanks for coming back and spending some more time with me today. I'm going to be participating once again in the Mixed Media Emporium Facebook groups challenge or prompt from Nina Rabina and Kylie Koo, and this week's challenge or prompt was texture, watercolor texture. And I'm going to be working on a art journal page in my mixed media journal book. It's 140 pound vellum finished mixed media paper. It's great for wet or dry media. I am going to throw a piece of wax paper in here though, just because I'm working quite wet today. And so I do want to offer a little bit of protection to my other pages. I thought though today for the challenge, the whole month of June, the challenge is working with watercolors. And not everybody has watercolors. And I think you can loosely interpret watercolor as well. I don't think it necessarily needs to be a watercolor paint or crayon or marker in the traditional sense. I think you can take any product that would react with water or be water reactive and use it. You could even take an acrylic paint and water that down so that it's quite translucent and transparent, and utilize it just like a watercolor as well. And like I was saying, it's yesterday, Sunday, June 13th, the new prompt came out, and it was creating texture with household items, and creating a watercolor background with texture. I want to play with my distress stains, my distress oxide sprays today. I've pulled out the Salvaged Patina and the Kitsch Flamingo Distress Stain and the Milled Lavender Distress Oxide Spray. And I'm going to use these like a watercolor. I think it should be fun. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray some water onto my paper. And then I'm going to put down some of my Kitsch Flamingo, some of my Salvaged Patina, a little bit more of my Kitsch Flamingo, a little bit more Salvaged Patina. The two colors blend together beautifully. I'm going to put a little bit more water down. Like I said, I want to work with this as quite a wet medium. Now, anytime you're working with Distress Oxide sprays, you need to make sure you shake that up good so that you get the pigment into the liquid and it's suspended in there. And I'm going to come in and just put some of that in here. I love how it just pushes the color back a little bit. I think I want just a little bit. There we go. That looks nice and wet. So I'm going to treat it just like I would. You can actually tell how wet it is because you can see the reflection of my studio lights. I'm going to treat it just like I would an actual watercolor paint. And I'm going to throw down some kosher salt, coarse salt. This is the same stuff I would use for pickling. I'm going to put a little bit of that salt down, and that's going to react with those inks. And I'm also going to throw some bubble wrap in. I buy bubble wrap by the sheet from the dollar store. I get quite a large package of it for just over $1. So I'm going to put that in there. Now, the hardest part when you're doing anything that involves a lot of texture with a wet medium like this is letting it dry. I don't typically want to hit this with my blow dryer or with a heat gun. mainly because you're gonna melt your plastic, you'll blow your salt off. So this needs to be just left to dry on its own. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna work on another project while this is drying, and once this is dry, I will be back to show you the texture and finish off my page. All right, so I'm dry, or I'm mostly dry, so let's peel back the bubble wrap and see what kind of texture we have. Look at that. Zoom you in a little bit more here so you can see. Look at that texture. Is that not gorgeous? Now I see I still have a few little wet spots here and there. So all I'm going to do is just take a little bit of paper towel here, soak up some of the spots that are still wet. Oh, loving that, loving that. Gonna just shake my salt into the garbage here. All right, so it's still a little bit wetter than what I want, so I'm gonna go dry that. I'll be right back. All right, so I've brushed the salt off. I've finished drying the book. I can take my wax paper out of there. Don't need that anymore. And I'll just bring that up and let you see, look at the texture in there between the salt and the bubble wrap. It just really gave a super fun background. I'm loving it. Loving the colors as well, to be honest with you. Sorry, I've got salt everywhere now. All right, so let's put the page together. So while I was waiting for things to dry, I cut out a butterfly. I like the contrast of the bright yellow against everything. I've pulled in an old stamp from Stampin' Up. This is from the Upsy Daisy set. It's retired, I'm sure. And I've unmounted it from the wood block and made it a cling stamp now. So I'm gonna just stamp, I think I'm gonna stamp the flower just along the bottom here. And then I might come in with my Sharpie and draw in the stems and stuff, just so I can have some different heights and stuff in there. So I've just got that mounted right on my acrylic block. I'll bring the ink pad in. Want to make sure that's inked up really, really good. Just because I'm only going to have one shot at this. And if it doesn't ink in real well, I can always color the image back in with a Sharpie, like I said. So I think I want to come up. Oh, that is going to cause me some issues. Let me just move that right onto the end of my block. All right, so I just moved that down so that it doesn't interfere with the coil of my book. Ink that up. I'm gonna come in and stamp that, push that down, give it a second or two to allow that ink to have a chance to transfer onto the page. I'll stamp this one down a little bit lower. Oh, still got some salt on there. And then I'll do one that's kind of right in between the heights here. We'll overlap that ever so slightly. we go. Come in with a Sharpie. I'll move you in a little bit just so you can see. And so then all I'm going to do is just come in and just I'm not going to worry too much about making those lines super thick or together. I'm just kind of sketching it in, making it relatively loose. And draw those stems in. All right, so you get the idea. You can see what it is I'm doing here to finish that off, bringing that down because I need my flowers to be anchored onto the bottom of my page. Otherwise they're just floating out in the middle of nowhere. So I'm gonna go and finish drawing in these stems. I'm sure you've got more exciting things to do than watch me sketch those in. So when I'm done, I will be right back. All right, so I've got that finished, and I switched from my Sharpie to my Tombow mono drawing pens because I've got a 0.5 tip, an 0.3 tip, and an 0.1 tip, and they don't bleed the way the Sharpie does. The Sharpie was really starting to bleed and make me mad, so I switched pens, and with the different tips it made putting in those stems so much nicer. I brought in a gel pen just to kind of scribble in a little bit here on some of the flowers, add a little glitter in there because glitter, butterflies, shimmer, really can't go wrong with that. So I'm just going to quickly scribble that in. Hope you all had a good weekend. Here we've got a hot couple of days coming up. Today I think is 34 or 35 degrees. Tomorrow's supposed to be 34 or 35 again. And then we get a little bit of rain, and then it'll settle in around the mid-20s for the rest of the week. So I'm looking forward to those little bit cooler days. I'm kind of a mid-20s girl. Once it starts getting up into the 30s, it's just too hot for me. When you can go outside and fry an egg on a sidewalk, that's just too hot. Hoping to get lots done in the studio this week. We'll see how the week progresses. My two kids that are still in high school are finishing things up. They've this is basically their last week of classes, and then next week is exams. So they're getting antsy. They're both ready for the school year to be over. I think the teachers are ready for the school year to be over. There we go. Just a little bit of glitter. I'm not sure if the camera's picking that up. Let me pull that up, and oh yeah, there we go. See the little bit of glimmer on those flowers? Like I said, just to add a little bit of interest. And I'm going to do the same on the butterfly. I like the contrast of that yellow butterfly against the pinks and the blues. I've brought in a blue glitter pen, and I'm just going to color in those blue spots on the wings. Again, just because I want a little bit of interest on that butterfly. I don't want the white edges of the butterfly to be so noticeable. So I'm going to come in with my Sharpie and just go over those outside edges, and that gives it a nice finished look on the edge. I'm not super exact. If I miss an edge or something, it's not going to be that big of a deal, but trying to hit most of those edges, it really does give it a more finished and polished look on the image. I probably could have printed the butterfly out a little bit bigger than what I did. This is a fairly large page, but to be honest with you, I just didn't feel like going back to the printer and printing something else out. Now for a quote, I do have this page of quotes. It's from Graphics Fairy. I'll leave a link down below. And I think I'm gonna go with this quote. The butterfly counts not months, but moments, and has time enough. In our society, in this day and age, I think we get so busy we forget to stop and count those moments. Lost my big scissors somewhere, so I'll come in with these smaller ones. I'm looking forward to counting some of those little moments this summer. Hoping to get a little bit of downtime and relaxing time at the beach. I'm very much one of those sunshine girls. I don't feel rejuvenated until I've had a few sunny beach days. I grew up actually on a lake in northern Saskatchewan, and so my soul is only happy when I can hear the sound of waves splashing. I think I'm gonna cut that apart. Darn, I wish I knew what I did with those. Oh, there they are. Too lazy to get my paper trimmer out, so I'm just gonna come in with my long scissors and cut those into strips. Mainly just because then I can eat up a little bit of real estate on this page. Like I was saying, I grew up in northern Saskatchewan on a lake. What a childhood that was, let me tell you. Nothing better than being able to hear the sound of water all the time. And I'm going to outline that again in black. That's just going to put a little bit of a frame on it. Like I said, I find it just finishes that off, helps make it stand out against the page. So let me know what you think of this background. Is this something you might try? You can achieve this technique with any of the Tim Holtz Distress products because they are a water-based product. You can achieve this with watercolor paints and probably gouache. I haven't played a whole lot with gouache, but I know gouache is a watercolor, like a watercolor paint. You could use watercolor markers, watercolor crayons. I encourage you to play, to try, and see what you can come up with. All right, so I'm going to glue down the butterfly. I'm going to come in with my beacon, my typical beacon 3-in-1. Glue that down. Just want a little bit of glue on those, on the tail of the butterfly. And then I'll glue these down as well. And you'll notice I cut the antenna off the butterfly. I will come in and draw those in. I don't fussy cut around it. They're so flimsy. It's so hard to cut around those. So I tend to just cut them off. I even cut the legs off of the butterfly, and that's, I find most of the time cutting the legs off is no big deal. You don't even notice that the legs are gone. So I don't stress that out too much, and come in and we'll just put those antenna back in. There we go, just like that. And I've got a cute little stamp. This is a current Stampin' Up! Stamp set, It is the Garden Wishes stamp set. It has a little bumblebee in it, but it's got the little dotted line that makes it look like he's been flying around. So I think I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna put a few of those in, just because they're cute. Let's see here. Oh yeah, look at that. Just a few little oh yeah, like that. I think just those three is all I'm gonna do. So a really simple page. I still want to do a little, sorry, I keep saying simple page and I'm done. And then I changed my mind. I'm gonna come in here. It's not a page of mine without a little bit of distressing, so I'm gonna grab my black or my brown archival ink for this. I use the black archival ink to stamp. I'm going to use my brown archival ink just to pull a little bit of color and distress onto those edges. It's just something I really like to do. Typically I would splatter the background as well with white or black. I just didn't want to do that today. I really liked the brightness, the cleanliness, the simpleness of this page. Oh yeah, see how it just almost gives the page a bit of a border by throwing that distress in there. This is just a plastic cutting mat that I've cut down to size to use for inking, and then I have a non-slip mat on the back so that if I'm inking up papers off to the side, this mat isn't sliding around, it stays in place. And put that in there. All right, and let's date it. So today's date is June 14th, 2021. There we go. So that's my page. That's my prompt for the Mixed Media Emporium Facebook group with Nina Rabina and Kylie Koo. I will leave links down below to the Facebook page and to each of their YouTube channels. Please remember to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, let me know what you thought of it, let me know if you're going to try this, and I'll see you all again next time. Have a great week. Bye-bye.